The old thrift store sat at the corner of a quiet street where most people walked past without a second look. It had faded blue paint and a crooked sign that swayed whenever the wind moved through the town. Inside the store, shelves were packed with clothes, lamps, and forgotten things from many years. People came for cheap deals and left with small treasures. None of them knew that something much bigger was hidden below their feet. The store belonged to a quiet man named Noor. He was in his early 40s and had owned the shop for almost 10 years. Noor was known in the neighborhood as kind but distant. He smiled at customers, helped them find what they needed, and always closed the shop at sunset. He never stayed late. He never let anyone go into the basement. When asked about it, he only said it was full of old boxes and broken shelves. One rainy afternoon, a young woman named Mina walked into the store. She was new to the town and worked at the small local library. She loved old things and stories behind them. The thrift store caught her eye because it looked like a place filled with forgotten memories. She wandered between the shelves, touching fabrics and reading faded labels. Every item felt like it had a story waiting to be told. While browsing, Mina noticed a strange sound coming from the back of the store. It was a soft hollow echo, like someone tapping on a wall. Noor was moving some boxes near a door that led to the basement stairs. Mina watched as one box slipped and hit the wall. The sound was different than expected. It did not sound solid. It sounded empty behind it. Mina tilted her head and took a few steps closer. Noor froze for a moment, then picked up the box quickly. He forced a small smile and told her the basement was not safe. Mina nodded, but something in her mind had already started to wonder. A wall that sounded hollow meant space behind it. And space behind walls always meant secrets. Later that evening, Mina returned to the library with a strange feeling. She could not stop thinking about that wall. She had read enough old stories to know that hidden rooms were not just fiction. Sometimes they were real. Sometimes they held things people wanted to forget. The next day, Mina came back to the thrift store with her friend Rafi. Rafi was a handyman who fixed shelves and doors around town. He liked puzzles and had a sharp eye for details. Mina told him about the hollow sound and Noor's nervous reaction. Rafi listened carefully and smiled in a way that meant he was interested. They entered the shop pretending to look for furniture. Noor greeted them as usual, but his eyes followed them more closely this time. Mina picked up a small table while Rafi walked slowly toward the basement door. He lightly pressed his hand against the wall where Mina had heard the sound. His fingers paused. "This wall is not like the others," he whispered. "There is space behind it." Mina felt her heart beat faster. Noor suddenly cleared his throat and asked if they needed help. Rafi stepped away and said they were just looking. But the feeling in the room had changed. The air felt heavy. That night, Mina could not sleep. She kept seeing the wall in her mind. She felt like it was calling her. The next morning she went back alone. Noor was not there yet. The shop was being watched by a teenage worker named Avi who was busy sorting clothes. Mina walked straight to the back. The basement door was unlocked. Her hands trembled as she opened it. The stairs creaked softly as she went down. The basement smelled like dust and old paper. Boxes were stacked everywhere. Old lamps leaned against shelves. It looked messy but quiet. She walked to the wall. Up close it looked normal, but she could see a faint line where something had been covered. She touched it and felt a cool draft coming through a small crack. That was all she needed to know. Before she could think twice, Noor's voice echoed down the stairs. He was back. Mina quickly stepped away from the wall and pretended to look inside a box. Noor stared at her for a long moment. His face looked tired and scared at the same time. "You should not be here," he said softly. Mina apologized and left, but the truth was already growing inside her. Something was hidden, and Noor was protecting it. That evening, Mina met Rafi and told him everything. He did not hesitate. The next night they returned after the shop was closed. The street was quiet. Rain tapped softly on the windows. They used a small light and went into the basement. Rafi pressed the wall in the same place and gently pushed. A section of it moved. It was not solid at all. It was a hidden door. Their hands shook as they slowly opened it. Behind the wall was a narrow hallway. Dust filled the air. The light revealed shelves, old files, and boxes stacked from floor to ceiling. Mina picked up one of the folders. It was filled with photos and papers. Faces stared back at her. Names, dates, places. These were not random people. These were faces she had seen in old newspapers at the library. People connected to terrible events from many years ago. People who vanished without a trace. Rafi felt cold as he looked around. This is not a storage room, he said. This is something else. Footsteps suddenly sounded above them. Noor had come back. The basement door opened. Light poured down the stairs. Mina and Rafi froze as Noor called out their names. The secret wall had been opened, and the truth was no longer hidden. The story was just beginning. Noor stood at the top of the basement stairs holding a small light. His face looked pale and tired. Mina and Rafi stood frozen beside the open hidden wall. The shelves of files and old boxes were fully visible now. There was no way to hide what had been found. Noor slowly walked down the stairs. Every step felt heavy. He did not shout. He did not try to stop them. He only looked at the open room with sad eyes. You were not supposed to see this, he said quietly. Mina held one of the folders close to her chest. Inside were old photos of people who had been missing for many years. Some of their stories were famous. Some were only remembered by a few families. All of them had one thing in common. They had disappeared and were never found. Why do you have this? Mina asked. Noor leaned against a shelf as if he had been holding this weight for too long. He took a deep breath and began to speak. This store belonged to my uncle, he said. Many years ago he was not just a shop owner. He helped people hide. But not in a good way. He hid people who were running from the law. He built this room to keep their secrets safe. When he passed away, the shop came to me. I found this place by accident. Rafi looked at the shelves. Why did you not tell anyone? Noor shook his head. If I told the police, they would take everything. Families would come. Media would come. This quiet town would change forever. I was scared. Mina felt anger and sadness mix inside her. But these people deserve the truth. Their families deserve peace. Noor lowered his eyes. I know. But once you open this door, you can never close it again. Rafi picked up another folder. It had a map inside. Marked locations. Notes written by hand. Some of them were very recent. Mina saw the map and felt a chill. These are not all old, he said. Some of these notes are new. Footsteps were heard above them. Not Noor this time. A heavy step, slow and careful. Rafi turned off the light. They all stayed silent. The basement door creaked open. A tall shadow moved at the top of the stairs. A voice called out Noor in a calm tone. Noor's face turned white. He whispered that voice should not be here. The shadow slowly walked down the stairs. The man was wearing a long coat and a hat pulled low. His eyes scanned the basement. Then they landed on the open wall. He smiled, but there was no warmth in it. So you found it, he said. Mina felt her heart race. Who are you? The man took off his hat. My name is Kamal. And this place belongs to me now. Noor stepped back. You promised you would never come here. Kamal laughed softly. Promises are easy to break when secrets are this big. Rafi realized the truth. Kamal was using the hidden room to keep records. Not old records. New ones. He was hiding people. Hiding stories. Keeping power over those who wanted to stay invisible. You cannot do this, Mina said. Kamal looked at her calmly. I already am. This room is my safety. Those files are my shield. He stepped closer to them. Noor tried to stand in front of Mina, but Kamal raised a hand. Do not be brave, he said. This town only looks quiet because people like me keep it that way. Rafi clenched his fists. The truth will come out. Kamal smiled again. Only if you live long enough to tell it. The air felt heavy. The shelves of hidden lives stood behind them. The secret room was no longer just a mystery. It was a trap. And now, all three of them were inside it. Kamal stood in front of the hidden room with calm eyes. Mina felt fear move through her, but she did not step back. Noor was shaking. Rafi looked at the shelves as if trying to remember every detail. The air felt tight as if the room itself was holding its breath. Kamal slowly walked closer to the shelves. He touched one of the folders like it was something precious. These papers are worth more than gold, he said. They hold stories people want buried. People in high places pay a lot to keep their past quiet. Mina realized something then. The people in those files were not only missing. They were being erased. Their lives were being removed so others could stay powerful. You are using this place to control people, she said. Kamal nodded. Fear is the strongest lock. When someone knows their past can destroy them, they will do anything to protect it. Noor looked at the floor. I never wanted this. I only wanted to keep the shop. Kamal laughed softly. You kept it. I used it. That is how the world works. Rafi took a slow step toward the stairs. Kamal noticed. His smile faded. Do not try to be a hero. But Mina suddenly spoke loud and clear. You are not the only one who knows these secrets. We have seen them too. Kamal stared at her. Then his face changed. If you leave this room, the truth leaves with you. And that cannot happen. Noor looked up. There was something different in his eyes now. Years of fear had become years of regret. This shop was built on forgotten things, he said. But those people were not things. They were lives. Kamal turned to him. Do not make this harder. Noor moved toward Kamal instead of away. You took something that never belonged to you. Rafi saw his chance. He pushed a tall shelf. It fell with a loud crash, blocking Kamal for a moment. Mina grabbed Noor and ran for the stairs. Rafi followed right behind them. They reached the top and ran into the store. The rain outside had stopped. The street was quiet. Mina ran to the library nearby. She used the old computer to send copies of the files she had taken earlier to every news office she could find. Rafi locked the store doors. Noor stood in the middle of the shop shaking. Sirens began to sound in the distance. Kamal burst out of the basement, but it was too late. People were already gathering outside. The truth was moving faster than him now. When the morning came, the town was no longer quiet. Cameras filled the street. People stood in shock as they learned what had been hidden under their feet for so long. Families saw faces they had not seen in years. Stories that were buried finally came back to the light. Noor stood beside Mina and Rafi watching it all unfold. Tears ran down his face. Mina looked at him and said softly, sometimes the hardest walls hide the most important truths. The thrift store was closed that day. But the truth was finally open. And now a question remained for everyone reading this story. If a secret wall was hiding something in your town, would you have the courage to open it? Drop a comment and share where you are from, because stories like this can happen anywhere. The next morning, the thrift store looked like a completely different place. The faded blue sign was still there, but everything around it felt louder, brighter, heavier. People stood in groups on the sidewalk, whispering, pointing, and looking at the windows like they expected the walls to speak. A few reporters waited with cameras, and some neighbors held umbrellas even though the sky was clear, as if they needed something to hold because their hands were shaking. Inside the store, Mina sat on a wooden chair near the counter. Her phone would not stop buzzing. Messages kept coming from strangers, from local numbers, from people far away, all asking the same thing. Is this real? Are those files true? How did you find it? Do you have more? Mina tried to answer a few, but the number kept growing. She had not expected the story to spread so fast. It felt like the town had been holding its breath for years, and now everyone was suddenly inhaling at once. Rafi walked back and forth near the shelves, fixing small things without thinking. He straightened a lamp, moved a chair, and picked up a box. It was his way of staying calm. Noor stood near the basement door and kept staring at it like it was a living thing. Avi, the teenage worker, came in quietly. His eyes were wide. He looked like someone who had discovered the world was not as safe as he believed. He held a paper cup of tea and offered it to Mina with a shaky hand. "Are you okay?" he asked. Mina nodded, but her voice sounded tired. "I do not know. I feel like I opened a door that never closes." Noor turned his head slowly. "That door was already open. You just made everyone see it." A police officer came inside and spoke to Noor for a few minutes. Noor answered everything calmly, almost like he had decided there was no point hiding anymore. Mina watched Noor's face and realized something painful. Noor was not only afraid of what people would think. He was ashamed that he waited so long. After the officer left, Noor sat down on a crate and covered his face with his hands. Mina walked closer and spoke softly. "You did not create this room." Noor looked up. His eyes were wet. "But I protected it. I stayed quiet. I let it stay hidden. I told myself I was keeping peace, but I was only keeping silence." Rafi finally stopped moving. "Silence can feel like peace until it starts hurting people," he said. Noor nodded as if he needed to hear it. That afternoon, the town council called an emergency meeting. The library hosted it because it was the biggest quiet building available, and the town needed quiet to process what was happening. Mina sat in the back, watching the faces of neighbors who had known each other for years. Some looked angry. Some looked scared. Some looked like their memories had cracked open. A woman named Saba stood up and spoke with a trembling voice. Her brother had disappeared many years ago, and her family had never stopped searching. She held one of the printed pages Mina had sent out, and her fingers shook as she pointed at a photo. "This is him," she said. "I recognize his smile. I recognize his eyes. Why was his face in that room?" The room went silent. People looked away. Others looked down at their hands. Nobody wanted to say the answer out loud, but it was there in the air. Because someone knew where he went, because someone kept the truth locked away. Mina stood up slowly. Her heart beat hard, but she forced her voice to stay steady. "I do not have all answers," she said. "But I promise you this. The truth will not be buried again." Some people nodded. Some wiped tears. Some whispered prayers under their breath. Noor sat near the front and did not look up once. He looked like he was carrying every face in those files on his shoulders. After the meeting, Mina walked outside and found her phone ringing again. It was an unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "Hello." A calm woman's voice came through. "My name is Farah. I work with a legal team that handles missing persons cases. I saw what you shared. We need to talk." Mina's stomach tightened. "Are you with the police?" "Not exactly," Farah said. "But we help families. And what you found can open many cases. It can change lives." Mina glanced back at the library building where families were still talking in small groups. Some were holding photos from their wallets like they were holding pieces of their hearts. Mina swallowed. "What do you need from me?" Farah paused. "We need the originals. We need the full set of notes. And we need to know if there is anything else hidden in that room." Mina looked at Noor standing outside near the steps, staring into the distance like he was not fully in the present anymore. She felt a wave of responsibility rise in her chest. "I will help," she said. "But I want this done right." Farah's voice softened. "So do I." That night, Mina could not sleep. She kept hearing Kamal's calm voice in her mind. She kept seeing the shelves of folders. She kept imagining hands writing those newer notes. Someone had been in that hidden room recently. Someone had been using it, even if Kamal was the one who showed up. Mina sat on her bed with a notebook and wrote down everything she remembered. Every detail, every sound, every smell, every look on Noor's face. She did not want her memory to become soft and unclear with time. She wanted it sharp like a key. The next morning, Mina went back to the thrift store early. Rafi was already there, holding tools. Noor stood at the door waiting, as if he had decided he would not run from this anymore. Rafi nodded toward the basement. We should check everything properly. If there are newer notes, there might be something else. Noor's throat moved as he swallowed. I will go with you. They went down together. The basement felt colder now, even though the air was the same. It felt different because the secret was no longer secret. The hidden wall door was open, and the narrow hallway looked like a mouth that had finally spoken. They entered the hidden room. Police had already taken some files, but there were still boxes left. Mina moved carefully, opening lids, checking corners, looking for anything that did not match the rest. Rafi found a small metal cabinet pushed behind a shelf. It was locked. Mina looked at Noor. Did you know about that? Noor shook his head. No. That was not there before. Or maybe I never looked closely enough. Rafi examined the lock. He sighed. This is not a normal cabinet lock. Mina's heart beat faster. What do you mean? Rafi tapped it gently. Someone installed this recently. It is newer than the rest. Noor's eyes widened. So someone really was here. Not only Kamal. Someone else. Rafi looked at Mina. Do we open it? Mina thought about families crying at the meeting. She thought about that woman's trembling finger on the photo. She thought about all the years of silence. Yes, she said. We open it. Rafi worked quietly with his tools. He did not force it loudly. He did it slowly, carefully, like he was opening a door in a sleeping house. After a few minutes, the lock clicked. The cabinet opened. Inside was not money. Not jewelry. Not anything dramatic like people expected. It was worse in a quieter way. There were letters. Dozens of letters. Each one sealed in a plain envelope. Each one had a name on it. Some names were old. Some names were recent. Some names were written in shaky handwriting. Others were neat and clean. Mina's hands trembled as she picked one up. The paper felt thick, like someone wanted it to last. Noor leaned closer. What are those? Mina opened one carefully. The letter was short. It was written like a confession. If you are reading this, it means the wall is open. It means the room has been found. I am sorry. I did not save you. I did not speak when I should have spoken. I was afraid. I was weak. I thought silence would protect my family. It only protected the ones who hurt others. Mina's eyes filled with tears. The letter was not signed. Rafi took another envelope and opened it. His face turned pale. This one is addressed to someone who disappeared only 3 years ago, he said quietly. Noor's mouth opened, but no words came out. Mina opened more letters. Many were apologies. Some were clues. Some were directions to places, written in careful wording. Some were only a few lines saying I saw you, I remember you, I did not forget. Mina felt her throat tighten. Someone inside this whole system had been leaving messages. Someone had been trying to prepare for the day the wall opened. Rafi looked at Noor. Your uncle wrote these. Noor shook his head slowly. No. This handwriting is not his. And some of these dates are after he passed away. Mina's mind raced. Then who? They all stood in the hidden room, staring at the cabinet like it was a box of human regret. Suddenly, Avi's voice echoed down the stairs. Mina. Rafi. Noor. Someone is here. Mina's heart jumped. Who? Avi sounded nervous. A woman. She says her name is Farah. She says she needs to talk now. Mina quickly gathered the letters into a box. She did not know why, but she felt they needed to be protected. They went upstairs and found Farah standing near the counter. She looked professional, calm, and serious. But her eyes were not cold. They were focused. I came as soon as I could, Farah said. I heard about the meeting. And I heard you went back into the room. Mina nodded. We found something new. Farah's eyes sharpened. Show me. Mina placed the box on the counter and opened it. Farah's face changed when she saw the letters. Not shock. Not confusion. Recognition. You have no idea what this is, Farah whispered. Rafi frowned. You know these. Farah looked at Noor for a long moment, then spoke carefully. 4 years, families received strange anonymous tips. Not enough to solve everything, but enough to keep hope alive. Some letters arrived without return addresses. Some arrived hidden inside books donated to libraries. Some were slipped under doors. Mina stared. Who sent them? Farah's voice lowered. We never knew. We called them the whisper letters. Because they felt like someone whispering from behind a wall. Mina felt goosebumps rise on her arms. Noor's hands started shaking. So someone has been trying to fix this. 4 years. Farah nodded. And now, with this cabinet, we may finally trace the source. Mina looked down at the letters and noticed something she had not seen before. A small symbol on the corner of one envelope. A tiny mark like a stitched thread. She picked it up. It looked familiar. Mina's eyes widened as a memory hit her. She had seen that symbol before in the library. Not on letters. On donated clothing tags. Old thrift items that came through Noor's store. Mina lifted her head slowly. Noor. Noor looked confused. What? Mina spoke carefully. That symbol. It is from your store. It is on the donation tags you use. It is the small stamp you put when you sort items. Noor's face went blank. Then he shook his head. No. That symbol is on our tags, yes. But anyone could copy it. Rafi leaned in. Or someone inside the store could use it. Avi stood near the door, quiet, listening. His eyes moved between them. Mina suddenly realized something else. The newer notes in the folders. The recent cabinet. The letters that appeared in libraries. The hidden room being used even after Noor's uncle died. This was not only about Kamal. Kamal had used the room, yes. But someone else had been moving quietly inside the same space, leaving clues, leaving letters, trying to make the truth escape slowly without causing a storm. Mina turned and looked at Avi. Avi blinked. What? Mina's voice stayed gentle. Avi, how long have you worked here? Avi swallowed. 2 years. Noor looked at Avi like he was seeing him differently for the first time. Avi, you never told me you go down there. Avi's face turned red. I do not. I only go when you ask me. Mina noticed his hands. They had small ink marks on the fingers, like someone who writes often. Like someone who seals envelopes. Farah stepped closer. Avi, have you ever mailed letters anonymously? Avi's eyes widened. No. Why would I? Rafi crossed his arms. Because you are the only one who had access without raising suspicion. Noor trusted you. Customers ignored you. You could move things quietly. Avi's breathing became shallow. He looked at Noor, then at Mina, then at Farah. His voice shook. You think I did this? Noor's face twisted with pain. Avi, tell us the truth. Please. Avi's eyes filled with tears. He opened his mouth, then closed it. He looked like someone standing on the edge of a long secret. Finally, Avi spoke in a whisper. It was not me alone. The room went silent. Avi wiped his face with his sleeve. My mother worked here before me. She died last year. She found the hidden room long ago. She told Noor's uncle to stop using it, but he did not. She tried to report it, but she was scared. She had a small child. She had no power. She stayed quiet, and that silence ate her alive. Mina felt her chest tighten. Avi continued. After Noor inherited the shop, my mother wanted to tell him. But she was afraid Noor would panic, or the town would turn on him. She wanted to protect him, but she also wanted the truth out. So she started leaving letters. Small clues. Quiet hints. Enough to keep families searching, but not enough to bring danger to our door. Noor covered his mouth, eyes wide. Avi's voice broke. When my mother got sick, she made me promise to keep doing it. She said one day the wall will open, and when it does, the letters will matter. They will show that someone tried. Someone cared. Mina felt tears roll down her cheeks. It was not a clean solution. It was not perfect, but it was human. It was fear mixed with love. Farah exhaled slowly. Your mother saved more hope than you understand. Noor stepped forward and placed a hand on Avi's shoulder. His voice was shaking. I am sorry. I should have looked. I should have listened. I should have asked why you always seemed nervous when I mentioned the basement. Avi cried quietly. I did not want anyone to get hurt. I only wanted the truth to breathe. Mina wiped her face and looked at the letters again. They were not just papers now. They were proof that even inside a dark system, someone tried to do the right thing. Farah spoke gently. Avi, your story will matter. But we must do this carefully. There are people connected to those files. Powerful people. They will try to twist this. Mina nodded. Then we shine light from every angle. No shadows left. Over the next weeks, the town changed. The thrift store stayed closed, but people came to leave flowers at the door, not because the store was a memorial, but because it had become a symbol. A symbol of hidden truth. A symbol of silence breaking. Families from different cities arrived. Some came with anger. Some came with hope. Some came with fear of what they would learn. Mina helped Farah's team organize the letters and files. Rafi repaired old shelves and built new ones in the library so documents could be stored safely. Noor gave full cooperation and even spoke publicly, admitting he knew about the hidden room and regretted keeping it quiet. One day, Mina found Noor sitting alone on the library steps. He looked smaller than before, like the truth had taken away a mask he did not know he was wearing. Mina sat beside him. Do you hate me now? Noor asked softly. Mina shook her head. I do not hate you. But I hope you never forget what silence can do. Noor nodded slowly. I will not. I think this store was my punishment and my chance at the same time. I failed first. But now I have one chance to do something right. Mina looked at him. Then keep doing it. Not for the cameras. Not for the town. For the people in those files. Noor nodded again. A few days later, Avi approached Mina holding one last envelope. This one was hidden behind the cabinet, he said. I think my mother left it for me. Mina took it carefully. The envelope had Avi's name. Avi did not open it. He only asked Mina to be there when he did. They sat in a quiet corner of the library. Farah stood nearby, respectful but curious. Avi opened the envelope slowly and unfolded the paper inside. The letter was short. My dear Avi, if you are reading this, it means you survived the secret. It means you did not let fear win. I am proud of you. One day, people will ask why you did not shout sooner. Tell them the truth. Shouting is easy for people who feel safe, but whispers can still save lives. And now, it is your turn to speak loudly. Love, Mom. Avi's eyes filled with tears again, but this time he smiled through them. Mina felt something settle in her chest. The story had started with a hidden wall, but it was never only about that wall. It was about the quiet decisions people make when they are afraid. It was about how truth can travel slowly, like a whisper, until one day it becomes a storm. That evening, Mina stood outside the closed thrift store. The street was calm again, but it was not the same calm. It was a calm that came after a truth was faced. She looked at the building and thought about how many places in the world look normal from the outside. How many walls hide stories? How many people live next to secrets without knowing? Then Mina turned toward the camera crew that was filming a small interview nearby. A reporter asked her one question. Why did you go back into that basement? Mina answered honestly. Because I heard a hollow sound, she said. And I realized sometimes the world sounds hollow because the truth is trapped behind it. Before she walked away, Mina looked directly toward the lens and said something that made the story feel like it belonged to everyone, not just one town. If you have ever found something hidden that changed how you see people, share it and tell us where you are from, because secrets do not belong to one city, they live everywhere. If this story hit you, comment your country or city name and say one word. Would you open the wall or walk away?